Kit Harington, The Hollywood Reported, talked about the Game of Thrones finale. Finally, it's kind of been a while. I don't think he's ever really mentioned anything about the ending of Game of Thrones, at least in any meaningful manner, outside of like the politically correct kind of like sense. But let's see what he's got to say about the Game of Thrones finale.
Kit Harington is opening up about his feelings concerning the final season of HBO's Game of Thrones, admitting that mistakes were made.
Yeah. You think mistakes were made? Game of Thrones finale, mistakes were made? Just the finale? Or do you mean the entire final season of Game of Thrones?
In a new GQ interview ahead of him joining HBO's industry, the Jon Snow actor says that mistakes were made when creating the ending to the global phenomena, noting it may have been rushed, but also that there may not have been another option. I think if
it may have been rushed. It may have been rushed. He's still they're still not giving the truth. Straight, no chaser, truth, 100%. This is what happened. This is how the fuck up happened. We're sorry. Why has it taken this long to get this week of a response about the absolute shit show that was Game of Thrones season, 8? Matter of fact, when season 8 came out, ended May 2019. So that's 5 years ago. Fans have been waiting 5 years for any explanation about what happened. What the fuck happened? While errors always happen in shows, nothing's perfect. Finales rarely ever hit their mark, except for Breaking Bad, the greatest show of all time. Even Sopranos had a finale that fans absolutely hated. But you have an entire season be that? Unacceptable. Unacceptable. I don't care if they had other projects to do, or if, George R.R. Martin hadn't completed his books. People spent 10 years building up to these moments that should have been the most epic moments of almost any TV series or show to have ever come out. And for us to get one night of The Night King, for us to get one episode where Daenerys just goes completely left and is gone and over, and that's it. And have Jon Snow sent up to the north once again. Like, to get that after 10 years of fandom and support, making one of the biggest shows of all time, was a absolute direct slap in the face. And then for them to not even show up to those conventions later on to answer questions or even discuss what the fuck happened, not just the cast, but especially the writers, absolutely unacceptable, slap in the face. And they've deserved all the shit that they've gotten on these years. And like, I am not on the side of fandom most of the time. I think it goes way too far, gets way too toxic, and people get way too involved and should just have a life a little bit more often. But in terms of Game of Thrones and the finale that we got, the final season that we got, and just the absolute letdown after letdown after letdown after watching for 10 years was unacceptable. And for the statement to come out and be like, some mistakes were made. Yeah. And water is wet.
If there was any fault with the end of Thrones, it's that we were all so tired. We couldn't have gone on longer. And so I understand some people thought it was rushed, and I might agree with them.
We're all so tired. We're all so tired. We're all so tired. You're also very well compensated and also made your careers off this show. And like the fact that you couldn't stick it out for one last season, even though HBO offered them as much money as they needed to finish the season, even offered them a full 13 episode run. And the writers to be like, nah, we can do it in 7 is bullshit. I don't care what nobody says. Like, absolutely garbage, absolutely bullshit, unacceptable. And the fact that all these years later you're saying we were tired, like, I get it. Like, it's a job. It's a long series. But also, it literally made you. And for like y'all not to deliver, I can't even blame you because you're an actor, but for the writers not to deliver on that 10-year process for one last go around is one of the biggest travesties of any TV, film, franchise, series, or whatever ever. Because like to be at the highs that they were and then to finish the way they did will always leave a sour taste in everybody's mouth. Like, wouldn't you want, after all those years of dedication and hard work and showing up on set and putting the work in, wouldn't you want to go out on the highest note possible and have everybody literally talking about your show as like, yo, this might be the greatest series ever made, instead of being like, yeah, Game of Thrones is amazing. Except for that last season. Bullshit.
But I'm not sure there was any alternative. I look at pictures of me in that final season and I look exhausted. I look spent.
That's what you're supposed to look like. Like, at this point in Jon Snow's run and everybody else's run, you're supposed to look exhausted. You are supposed to look spent. You weren't supposed to have another season. We're not asking for another season from you. What we were looking for was a satisfying ending. Bullshit.
I didn't have another season in me. Regarding the backlash to the series finale episode, Harington replied, everyone is entitled to their opinion. I think there were mistakes made story-wise toward the end, maybe. I think there were some interesting choices that didn't quite work.
What interesting choice? Name one. Name one interesting choice that they made. Name one.
Harington also discussed HBO's shelved Thrones spin-off titled Snow that was in development for a period of time. While the actor declined to say what the storyline was about, he recalled when HBO first approached him. My first reaction was no, and then I thought there could be an interesting and important story about the soldier after the war. I felt that there might be something left to say and a story left to tell in a pretty limited way. We spent a couple of years back and forth developing it, and it just didn't, nothing got us excited enough.
Honestly, nobody cared at that point either. Like, the bad taste that finale left, the bad taste that season left, I was good on a Jon Snow property.
And I kind of backed out and said, I think if we push this any further and keep developing it, we could end up with something that's not good. And that's the last thing we all want.
Hold on. Hold on.
Bruh.
Did I just hear what I thought I just heard from him say? I think if we push this any further, we could end up with something that's not good. Why didn't you apply that? I'm not going to say you specifically. Why didn't y'all apply that to the last season? That last season was absolutely cooked. Cooked. So mistakes were made might be the greatest kind of like understatement in terms of Game of Thrones ever. Ever. I have not met one person who was like, damn, That last season hit. That finale, I'm satisfied. Not one. Universally hated. It went from universally beloved to universally hated in the blink of a season. So, some mistakes were made. You think? You think? If there's one person out there who's like, actually, I enjoyed that last season, let me know. We need to have a discussion. Let me know. All right, that's enough for pissing me off about Game of Thrones.